There are 3 GEM Mint copies of the Dipper Wilt Chamberlain 1961 Fleer. 3 GEM Mint copies in the world until the last couple of weeks. SGC announced that it graded an SGC 10 copy, the only GEM Mint SGC copy in history with hundreds of submitted, the most paltry gem rate by PSA and SGC that you could possibly imagine. Today's video is about that card, where it came from. We're going to read a couple of really well done articles on the internet, and then I'm just going to pose the question, what is an SGC 10 Wilt Chamberlain 1961 Fleer rookie card worth? Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you've got a bunch of unwanted inventory that you've been sitting on for days, weeks, months, years, ship it to Fanatics Marketplace and let them do all the work. Just make sure when you ship it, you use the promotional code CAJUN, all capital letters, C-A-J-U-N. All right, guys, what is this thing worth? We're talking about an SGC 10 Wilt Chamberlain. Look, I'm going to screen share. This is a really well done article by Collect, which is a relatively newer news source for hobby news out there. They do a really good job of explaining this card that you're looking at right here. It looks to me to have a rough left edge, but I'm no vintage expert. And again, here we are. We're talking about modern events, daily hobby news, and vintage basketball cards, none of which is in the Cajun Cardboard stream of consciousness or area of expertise. So what do I know? The centering is frighteningly good. The color looks exceptionally perfect. Apparently, this card was presented by a private individual to a local card shop owner up in Minnesota. The man's name was Caleb Baker. He had just recently opened a card shop or a Sticks and Bricks location, and apparently was kept in a closet of a grocery store for almost 60 years. And it was he reached out. The individual reached out, who wants to remain anonymous, reached out to Caleb Baker and said, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And I think Caleb Baker rightfully said, and his quote was, "In my head, I said, oh my God, this has a real chance," which is exactly what any of us would say if we looked at a Wilt Chamberlain card that looked like it was in this condition right here. So let's talk about the card. Let's talk about the grade. I love hearing stories like this because it just evokes, hope that maybe one day somebody will stumble across something like this, or something like this will come across our plate, right, in the hobby. So here's the pop report for this insane card. It's been graded a total of about 3,000 times, a little over 3,000 times by PSA, BGS, and SGC combined. Guys, look at the gem rates. Check it out. 0.14%. 3 out of 2,145 submissions with PSA have graded a 10. Okay, so there's 3 GEM Mints out there until a couple of weeks ago, and now SGC announces it has graded the only 10. 0.16% gem rate. Yes, a 1 in 607 chance. Let's look at the data. Let's look at the comps, right? We don't have any comps for a PSA 10. To the best of my knowledge, based on my research, I have never seen a PSA 10 sale in a public setting, so we don't even have any frame of reference. Even if we go back and try to extrapolate forward the number of years and kind of figure out where the hobby's gone since the last PSA 10 sale, then you also have to compare the PSA 10 to the SGC 10. When were the PSA 10s graded? And then what do the damn cards look like? Does this SGC 10 look better than all of the PSA 10s that are out there? I don't know, because I've never seen a freaking card. And so many of you probably watching the video haven't seen it either. So we're talking about a PSA 9. That's the best we can work with. So your SGC 10 obviously blows a PSA 9 out of the water. If we look at the PSA 9s, there was a sale. There was a private sale just after the bubble, back in 2022 actually, of one of the Pop 32 PSA 9s. So you're talking about a Pop 32 PSA 9 versus a Pop 3 PSA 10 and a Pop 1 SGC. So we're not even comparing apples to oranges. We're comparing apples to water buffaloes. Like, we're comparing apples to, the moon. It doesn't make any sense. There's really nothing you can draw out of it. The only thing we do know is this bad boy would sell for well over the highest sale ever for a 1961 Fleer Wilt Chamberlain, which was $670,000. So the question I pose to you guys, and this is a very short video, again, this is not my wheelhouse. I think if this thing went up for auction, given how recently it was graded, given how fantastic the story is and how genuine and how Americana the story is, that some dude found this in a grocery store closet and it had been sitting there. Of course, we don't know all the facts, but been sitting there for 60 years, and then it comes out and poof, it's this pristine, perfect copy, and it's presented to a local card shop owner who is just now established a sticks and bricks mortar location. I mean, it's a really good hobby story. I'll be quite honest with you, if all things that you know I read about are true. So I think this would go well over. Somebody was mentioning $1 million. Dude, I think $1 million is a freaking afterthought. I think that's a speed bump. I think this card went put at public auction with the vintage sharks, the deep pockets, the FU money vintage sharks that are out there. I've got to believe this card would push well over $2 million. I really do. 1961 Fleer. 1957 tops, 1969 tops, 1972. You're talking about one of the greatest vintage sets ever, and 48 Bowman, of course, but 61's the nasty one because it's got Oscar's rookie, it's got this Wilt rookie, it's got Jerry West rookie, and then it's got all the bad boys that came before it, the Koozies, the Baylors, and the Bill Russells, etc. So 61 Fleer is just legendary. It's also historically, as you can see from the gem rates that we just shared, historically known for being just awful centering, terrible issues. There's snow everywhere, white print dots that cloud the color of the card. There's a million things wrong with the card, generally speaking. So I guess my question that I'm posing to you guys is, what do you think this thing would sell for? I'll go on the record and say I think it would sell for somewhere between $2 and $2.5 million. But I could see the right two people being in a room at a live auction, Sotheby's or something like that, really not wanting to put the paddle down and wanting to paddle the hell out of each other. I think this thing would go in the $2 to $2.5 million range. Let me know what you guys think about this SGC 10 Wilt Chamberlain that just got graded, especially you vintage experts that somehow in the dark of night, lurking in the shadows, watch my channel where I very rarely talk about vintage stuff. I would love to hear from some of you super educated vintage card collectors out there what you think this card's worth. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Always appreciate you guys watching the channel and taking the time out of your day to kind of join me in my hobby journey and this educational experience. This is cool stuff. Looking up the vintage pop reports for the Wilt rookie card. He's, you know, in my Rushmore. He's in my top 4 right after Kareem, LeBron, and MJ. So thank you guys for watching as always. Keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby. And peace.